The Nintendo 3DS came out in 2013, and I wonder what it's like playing it for a week in 2023. So I did. Cue the intro.
How are you hitting me?
Oh my god! So, this is going to be exactly what I said in the intro. But before we start, we gotta lay down some ground rules. So during the 1 week I'm going to be playing on the 3DS, I have to play exclusively on the 3DS. Except there is one exception to the rule. Due to it being a pain to get a 3DS capture card in 2023, there's only one way to get the footage. What I'm going to be doing is for the entirety of a day, I'm going to be playing on the physical DS itself, and then doing a ditto run on my PC through an emulator. And when I say ditto run, I mean doing a run where I do exactly the same thing. The only reason I have to do this is because I need footage. If I play on any other system, I lose the challenge completely. And I have to do a forfeit. For this forfeit, I gotta get pied in the face. To prevent this video to be all about one game, so it'd be like, oh, I just played Pokemon every single day, I incorporated a rule where I cannot play the same game 2 days in a row. So if I played Pokemon on Monday, Tuesday I'm not allowed to play Pokemon. For this challenge, I'm using the 2DS. The 2DS was a cheaper model, and I was able to get one brand new in box for relatively cheap. Now that we have all of the rules out of the way, let's get into it. For day one, I wanted to choose a game that I spent a lot of time playing, but never really finished. Pokemon Ultra Sun came out in 2017 and was the last Pokemon game on the 3DS. And apparently, according to many people I talked to, it feels like a more completed version of Pokemon Sun. So say Pokemon Sun was 80% of a completed game, the content that was missing and found in Pokemon Ultra Sun was the remaining 20%. I opened a brand new run and I was extremely excited. My original Pokemon Sun team consisted of the pre-order exclusive Snorlax with the custom Z move, demo gift Ash Greninja, my starter Incineroar, Vikavolt, Kommo-o, and Zygarde. Yeah, I had a busted team. I got to the starter select area and had to make a major decision. I had to choose between Rowlet, Litten, and Popplio. I like Popplio's design, and I like Brionne, but I'm not a massive fan of its fully evolved form, and I don't hate it completely like I do Charizard, even though it has the best middle stage evolution for a starter that I've seen in a while. I had to choose between nostalgia and giving a Pokemon a new chance. Now, I think Rowlet's pretty cool. I think Decidueye's pretty. But my original run, I did have an Incineroar. And this is supposed to be a nostalgia video. So, I chose Litten. The last time I played this game, I wanted to beat it before Sword and Shield came out. But then my DS died and I could not use my DS anymore. So I just gave up. I went to go name my Litten Lupo, but when I wasn't paying attention, I somehow named it Krims. How the hell did that happen? Not long after, we found ourselves at a bridge trying to save Cosmog, who later becomes Solgaleo. And if you don't know this, and it's been 6 years, I'm sorry, but you're a little bit late on spoilers. Cosmog explodes, and we get saved by Tapu Koko. This is one of my favorite scenes from Pokemon. When Tapu Koko comes down, flying from the sky, and just smites away those Spearow, and then saves you. That is such an amazing scene to me. There's a lot of things that happened in between Tapu Koko and what happened next, but none of them are actually noteworthy. And if I did talk about every little thing, I'm going to be sitting here for an hour just talking about day one. We caught our next two team members, Grubbin and Wingull. And that's going to be our team for the majority of this video. We beat the Totem Yungoos, and we got our first Z Crystal, the Normalium Z. We ended the day catching a Noibat, and with that, day one came to a close. And I do have some things I want to talk about. Day one reminded me on why I got into Pokemon. I used to spend hundreds of hours on my couch to play a game that some may think is overrated. But it gave me so many hours of joy. But it's 2023 and I have spent some time playing on the Switch. Alongside that, I have a laptop with a 3050 Ti. So, I haven't felt that feeling in a while. I'm falling in love with the genre all over again. And I can't wait what it has in store. Day 2 was definitely interesting. If you haven't been watching the channel and you're brand new here, I'm into competitive Smash, and I've only touched the tip of the iceberg. And guess what? There's a 3DS version of Smash, and I'm lucky enough to own it. What the hell is this? This menu looks disgusting. It's disgusting going from what mode you want to go, but maybe it's just the menu that's disgusting. Hopefully the gameplay looks a lot better. I get the hardware is slower than the Wii U, but come on, this game is half-baked at best. How could Nintendo release such a dud of a game? And to make it even worse, it's from one of their most popular franchises. If I released something like this, I would quit making games entirely. Something that really bugs me is that this game doesn't even have Pokemon Trainer and just has Charizard. So I tried playing Kirby, which was my original main, and the game felt really off. Like if it was playing at 15 frames a second, I couldn't play it and I just quit the game for the day. I literally couldn't dive into the game, and for some reason I remember this game looking 10 times better. My notes for day 2 were that this game was completely scuffed. There were a lot of games on the 3DS that could have been way worse than this. So while some games like Pokemon Ultra Sun pushed the DS to its limit, there were also games that barely utilized the software on the DS, such as Smash for the 3DS. I'm hoping that those graphical issues and how the game looked were just the 2DS limiting the UI, but it's not. Day 3. So day 3 was scuffed, to say the least. Last week was my last week of school for the semester, so I had to edit last week's video, go to work, promise a friend I'll play basketball with him, which I'm really good at, and I had to do homework, so I couldn't really play. I wish I could, but it wasn't in the cards for me. Day 4 was pretty much me giving Smash on the DS a second chance. I played Kirby on the first day, so I decided to play Shulk, and it was still awful. I'm never playing on the DS again. I said that really weirdly. What I meant to say was I'm never playing Smash on the DS again, but for some reason I said I'm never playing on the 3DS again. Day 5. Day 5 began, and I had no idea what game I wanted to play. And then it clicked. I decided to play a game that I loved as a kid, but Sean hated. Cue Yokai Watch. Yokai Watch is great. It has in-game speed up, which is very unique because most games didn't have that. When you open the game, you're supposed to meet up with your friends. You are really into catching bugs for some reason. And for some bizarre reason, the janitor knows all the greatest bug catching locations and recommends going to the temple behind the school. That makes sense. You catch 3 bugs and then this gate magically disappears. I'm starting to understand why this game is kind of hated. You then find a random vending machine sitting in front of a massive tree. You throw a coin in and your lifelong companion Whisper, a ghost who's also a yokai, appears. He decides to give you the Yokai Watch, which you can never take off. Thanks, buddy. You get your first 2 yokai and that's it. You meet Desmeralda and get a bunch of yokai. The most memorable part of the story is when you reach the first major boss. So you're tasked with stopping these yokai from opening up the seals, and for the final seal, you have to go to your school. That makes complete sense. When you get to the 3rd seal, you're met with a 3-headed dragon where his mouth also contains his eyeball. This was my first real challenge. I remember struggling as a kid, but now I kind of just breeze through it without even trying. There's one thing that Day 5 taught me that I would have never expected to learn. Like, I knew the DS having 2 screens. Like, I learned that some of the games on the 2DS heavily utilized that second screen. I didn't show any of the bottom screens for any of this gameplay, but oh my god, it was a pain. So, your yokai can get inspirited, where you would have to switch them out and purify them. On an emulator, this is extremely difficult. Games like this will be really hard to port to the Nintendo Switch because you're missing out on that two-screen functionality. So day 6, I learned something very valuable. Like, you should hit the record button. So thank you, YouTube, for having B-roll online and online footage. I decided to play Mario and Luigi's Dream Team, my very first game on the 3DS. In this game, Mario enters Luigi's dreams to battle these weird enemies and do these wacky puzzles. I've never seen a Mario game like this before, and since my DS came with it, it was the first game I've actually ever played on the 3DS. I opened my 3DS for the first time and remember using the 3D function on this game in particular because this was the best representation for it. The physics of this game are really weird, and I just love how this game plays. I was really enjoying being able to explore this world, and even now, I had that same feeling. It kind of makes me think if Mario and Pokemon had a weird love child, this game would be the result of that. Funny story, for the longest time, I thought this game was open world. I was wrong. After doing this for 6 days, I'm really glad that I did this because I've had many opportunities to cheat on this challenge. I've really wanted to say, you want to know what? I'm just going to lie and said that I did the challenge without playing any other game. I didn't play any other game console, surprisingly. So far, I've realized that my love for graphics, the artworks, are everything to me. Recently, I was asked, why do you play games over and over again when there's nothing new in them? It's because I get to see such amazing graphics from different game genres and franchises. I get to see the evolution of art. To give you guys context for those who are new, I'm a graphic designer. I'm so glad that I only have one more day left because I love all these games, but I can't wait to get back to playing some Smash, Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and Valorant. Here it is, the final day. On the last day, I went to the Jets training camp, and here's a photo from it. As soon as I got home, I needed to finalize what game I wanted to play. Pokemon Y was the perfect game for this last day. Originally, I wasn't planning on getting a 3DS, but once I heard that the new Pokemon game was going to be on it, I had to get it. If I had never gotten a 3DS, I wouldn't have fallen in love with Nintendo as much as I am now. I wouldn't have made some of the videos on my channel, including this one that you're watching right now. Hey, the Nintendo Switch is a permanent part of my setup. Pokemon Y takes place in the Kalos region, which is the home of Mega Evolution. I open up the DS, the game, and I'm given a perfect demonstration of the 3DS's ability to run 3D games. You see your pet fletchling flying around your room, and then ram right into you. This is such a beautiful scene, and I know when I saw it back in the day, I know even seeing it now, I'm extremely happy to see it. I chose my favorite starter, Chespin, and sprinted to the first area. It still baffles me that, even though it's been 10 years since its initial release, if it was released on the Switch as a Pokemon game today, like brand new, this is the game we're getting this year, I would still play it and say it's one of the best games of all time. It's really not, but I would say that it's a really good game. During the time I spent playing this game, I got a Litleo, which really helped me beat the first gym because during my first run through, I remember this being one of the hardest gyms in the game, but I didn't this time. I moved on and caught a Flabébé. This game is a perfect representation of what the 3DS can do. This game was extremely ambitious for the Pokemon Company because considering that with most of the games in the past from Pokemon were 64-bit, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if most of the games were considered 64-bit, but I'm not sure if they're considered 16-bit, so I'm calling them 64-bit. I beat the professor, and the clock struck 12. That was it. The challenge was over. I gained a brand new appreciation for the newer graphics of today versus the older graphics of yesterday, but I still appreciate the older graphics just as much. It gave me the opportunity to see how much storylines have changed since 10 years ago to today. Recently, I've felt that Pokemon hasn't been focusing on attention to detail for these newer games, and I want to try to focus on the attention to detail now. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video, and thank you for spending a week playing only on the 3DS with me. If you want to watch another video, click the video on the left. That's last week's MCMM. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, click the button on the right. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one. Peace.